And I look at it. $10 million fucking dollars.
Oh!
The sense I have is that this idea of playing for $50 million anywhere is probably gone.
Right.
But if he's willing to play for less, if that fits with what they're trying to do, I think the door is open.
Yeah, because they got to balance the Austin situation too, and still being able to fill out the rest.
Yeah,
of the
like right now, it's almost like he'd be reversing roles with Austin in terms of salary.
Yeah.
23 years ago, a $10 million check slid across a boardroom table in Boston. An 18-year-old kid from Section 8 housing in Akron, Ohio, sat on one side. The CEO of Reebok sat on the other. The condition was simple. Take the check right now. Promise not to talk to Nike or Adidas. And $10 million is yours before you play a single professional minute.
High school senior, man, they gave me a check for $10 million if I promised not to go see anybody else. I told them I need a break. They stepped out. I need to fucking break.
I can't believe
Yeah, right.
I sat there.
I need a timeout.
My mom looked at it, and me and my mom were living in an apartment and, Section 8 housing in Akron. I'm going back. I don't have shit, whatever. And my mom looked at me. She said, son, trust your gut. If they're offering you this, then who knows what the other companies may offer you.
LeBron James looked at it, looked at his mother, looked at Maverick Carter, asked for a timeout, sat alone with his mother Gloria in a conference room in front of the biggest check either of them had ever seen in their lives. And his mother said 4 words that changed everything. Son, trust your gut. He handed the check back, walked out of that boardroom, got in the car, and cried on the way home.
I may have cried on the way home because I had to leave that
You're questioning. Man, I hope I just made the right decision.
I was like, I could have bought the building that me and my mom was living in with that goddamn money.
What? Easily.
I could have bought the building that me and my mom were living in with that money. He said it years later on the New Heights podcast with the specific ache of a man who understood exactly what he gave up in that moment and exactly why giving it up was the most important decision he ever made. He trusted his gut. He went to Nike. He signed an $87 million deal. He turned that deal into a lifetime contract worth a reported $1 billion in 2015. The kid from Section 8 housing who cried over a $10 million check he refused became the first active NBA player to become a billionaire. That is the story of the first $10 million check, the one LeBron refused, the one that launched everything. Now, in the summer of 2026, the basketball world is watching the story of the second $10 million check, the one that is being slid across a different table, in a different boardroom, by a different organization. And this time, LeBron James does not have the leverage to hand it back and walk out crying. This time, the $10 million is the ceiling, not the opening offer.
The sense I have is that this idea of playing for $50 million anywhere is probably gone.
Right.
But
Probably gone, not negotiating, not in flux, not subject to a bidding war between competing franchises, the way the Reebok and Nike and Adidas war of 2003 was designed to produce the maximum possible outcome for an 18-year-old from Akron with a mother who told him to trust his gut. Probably gone. From the ESPN insider who has been covering LeBron James's contract situations for 15 years. Who knows what the league temperature looks like? Who knows which front offices are having which conversations? Who knows that the market for a 41-year-old second slowest player in the entire NBA with an arthritic foot and 27 missed games and a career-low scoring average does not produce a $50 million bidding war in 2026. The idea of playing for $50 million anywhere is probably gone. Ramona Shelburne said it on March 23rd, and the basketball world heard it for what it was. The second $10 million moment, coming for the king.
like right now, it's almost like he'd be reversing roles with Austin in terms of salary.
Reversing roles with Austin Reeves in terms of salary. Let that sentence land completely before moving past it, because it is the most devastating single sentence that has been spoken about LeBron James's contractual legacy all season. And it was not spoken by Skip Bayless, not by Byron Scott on Power 106, not by Charles Barkley calling him the best third wheel in NBA history, by Ramona Shelburne on ESPN. As a factual description of what the numbers say, Austin Reeves is currently making $13.9 million per year. He is about to sign a maximum contract worth $241 million over 5 years, starting at approximately $41 million per season. The player who was signed as an undrafted free agent in 2021, who proved himself through development and dedication and the specific willingness to be whoever the team needed him to be on any given night. LeBron James is making $52.6 million this season, the most any player in Lakers history has ever made in a single year. More than Kobe Bryant ever made, more than Shaquille O'Neal ever made, more than Magic Johnson, more than any player in the history of a franchise that has paid elite talent for 60 years. Next season, Austin Reeves will make more than LeBron James, reversing roles in terms of salary. The undrafted free agent from El Dorado, Arkansas, making more than the all-time scoring leader from Akron, Ohio. The first $10 million check launched the billionaire. The second $10 million era begins with the undrafted free agent making more money in the building. Here is the number that Silver Screen and Roll published that nobody in BA wants to say directly enough. The Lakers can offer LeBron James the room mid-level exception if he wants to remain in Los Angeles. The room mid-level exception. $9.4 million. That is the specific number. The official mechanism. The contractual structure that would allow LeBron James to remain a Laker without damaging the cap space the franchise needs to build around Luka Doncic's prime. $9.4 million. The room mid-level exception, named for what it is. The exception that allows teams who have used their cap space to bring in additional players at a moderate salary. LeBron James. 58 years of combined NBA and business experience. 41 years old, 4 championships, 4 finals MVPs. All-time scoring leader. Kareem's field goal record. 22 All-NBA selections. Career earnings of $581 million. Lifetime Nike deal worth a reported $1 billion. $9.4 million. Room mid-level exception. Take it or leave it. In Los Angeles. The fadeaway world said $30 million sounds about fair. The cap analysis says 9.4 is what keeps the building program intact. The space between 30 million and 9.4 is the specific distance between what LeBron James believes he is worth and what the market in 2026 is willing to pay him to find out. Probably gone. The 50 million. Ramona Shelburne said so 3 days ago. Now here is the piece of this story that connects the two $10 million moments in the way that makes the whole thing hurt. In 2003, LeBron James refused the $10 million because his mother told him to trust his gut, because he knew the back end mattered more than the first check, because he was 18 years old and poor and already thinking in terms of a deal for life rather than a deal for right now. You have to think of the back end. I was going to be making a deal for life. You don't think about the first check. You think about all of them. He said that. About refusing Reebok's $10 million. The philosophy that turned a tearful car ride home into a $1 billion lifetime contract. And now in 2026, the back end is the problem. The back end is where the arthritic foot lives, where the 21.3% career low usage rate lives, where the second slowest player in the entire NBA lives, where the 9-2 record in his absence lives, where the minus 8.4 net rating in the 3-star lineup lives, where Jeannie Buss's privately grumbled outsized ego lives, where the widely expected summer split that NBC Sports described from league circles lives. The kid who thought about all of them is now approaching the last of them, on a salary that Ramona Shelburne just described as probably gone in terms of anyone offering him $50 million. In a market where the only bidder that makes basketball sense is the same organization whose owner grumbled about his ego for 8 years and whose front office is preparing $47 million in cap space for the Luka era that begins the moment the contract expires. You have to think of the back end. Said at 18. Looking at the first check. The back end is here, and it does not look like $1 billion. LeBron James is averaging 21.0 points, 5.9 rebounds, 6.9 assists, 1.1 steals, and 0.6 blocks per game for the Lakers in 2025-26. Those are all-star level numbers, but he's no longer one of the 10 best players in the NBA. Factor his age into the equation, and a deal worth about $30 million sounds about fair. In 2003, LeBron James was the most coveted teenage talent in the history of professional basketball. Nike and Reebok and Adidas all believed they were getting the future of the sport. The bidding war produced a check for $10 million before he had played a professional minute. A $100 million package from Reebok. An $87 million Nike deal that became a lifetime billion-dollar contract. In 2026, LeBron James is averaging all-star level numbers and no longer considered one of the 10 best players in the NBA. The market that produced the bidding war has been replaced by the room mid-level exception. The CEO sliding a check down the boardroom table has been replaced by Ramona Shelburne on NBA Today, saying the idea of $50 million anywhere is probably gone. $30 million sounds about fair, from Fadeaway World. For the all-time scoring leader, the player who has made $581 million in NBA salary alone. The player who has not taken a significant pay cut since he teamed up with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh in Miami in 2010. The player who told Jason Kelce and Travis Kelce that he cried on the way home from the Reebok meeting because he could have bought the building his mother lived in with that check. He cried over a $10 million check at 18. He is going to have to decide whether to accept $9.4 million at 41. The circle of the thing is the whole story. There is one more piece, the one that makes the second $10 million moment land differently than the first one. In 2003, Gloria James told her son, "Trust your gut." And the gut said, "Nike." And the gut was right. And the gut made him a billionaire. In 2026, LeBron James is a billionaire. Has been since at least 2022, according to Forbes. The 9.4 million room MLE, or the 30 million fadeaway world calls fair, or the 50 million that Ramona Shelburne says is probably gone. None of those numbers change his financial reality in any meaningful way. He has a $1 billion Nike lifetime deal. He has Spring Hill Entertainment. He has the Fenway Sports Group stake. He has the $300 million media deal. He has everything the 2003 check was supposed to open the door for and didn't need to because Gloria James told him to trust his gut, and the gut made him walk out of that Reebok boardroom crying. The money is not the story in 2026. The story in 2026 is the reversal, the role. The third option behind Austin Reeves that Colin Cowherd said Jordan would never have accepted. The Harrison Ford era. The best third wheel in NBA history. The role I am playing for the ball club from the post-game press conference in Detroit. The kid who cried over a $10 million check in 2003 because he was from Section 8 housing in Akron and could have bought the building his mother lived in, is now being asked to take a $9.4 million exception to play behind Austin Reeves on the team he built for 8 years, while the player who replaced him as the engine averages 33 points per game and scores 60 in Miami and receives standing ovations from opposing arenas. Trust your gut. Gloria said it in 2003. In 2026, the gut is telling LeBron James something that has a different area code. Something that involves a city he left once and came back to once, and that Brian Windhorst says is 99% likely if he is able and willing. Something that John Wall described with the specific certainty of someone who already knows the destination. He is going back home. The second $10 million moment is not about the money. It never was. It is about what the money represents. What accepting it or rejecting it says about where you are versus where you were. What the kid from Section 8 housing has to make peace with in the summer of 2026 when the contract expires and the cap space opens and the Luka era begins and the room mid-level exception is the price of staying. The first check made him cry because he walked away from it. The second one might make him cry for the opposite reason. Drop a comment right now. Does the parallel between the $10 million Reebok check LeBron cried over in 2003 and the $9.4 million room exception he is being offered in 2026 tell you everything about what 23 years of the greatest individual career in modern basketball history actually costs at the end. And does reversing salary roles with Austin Reeves hit differently when you remember that LeBron was the player who made Austin Reeves possible in the first place? Hit that like button. Subscribe.